Welcome back to Home Video. This is James. So today we're just looking at an article that was posted 6 months ago, but it's still relevant today. I'm tired of pretending physical media isn't still better than streaming digital. This is an article by Sabina Graves, December 6, 2024. Now, she goes on to say that she wanted to go and watch Furiosa at IMAX headquarters. And she thought she'd turn on Mad Max Fury Road and watch that, just to get into the whole, watch that first and then watch the prequel. And she says to her surprise that what she discovered within a few minutes was that something was off with the score's audio. They remember how Mad Max Fury Road sounded. This was not it. She thought something must have gone wrong with Max's streaming service compression or the audio files. They switched over to digital copy. Still didn't sound quite right. So we dug out our Blu-ray, popped it in, and there it was. The pristine sound of Junkie XL's warring drums and guitars coming out of our soundbar. Now this is true. Netflix, they've got a habit of compressing a lot of the audio, even the visual quality of the films. I put on Lord of the Rings on my Blu-ray, and just visually and the audio as well was so much better than watching it on Netflix. You notice with Netflix there's a lot of compression going on in a lot of the dark areas, and when there's action scenes especially, things look quite blurry. You just don't get that when you are watching a Blu-ray copy of the film. And it even says it in Google. Advanced AI-driven system Netflix uses to deliver high-quality streaming while saving up to 50% in bandwidth. So they're essentially cutting out half of the quality there. Depending on what internet connection you've got. The AI analyzes every single frame of a show and determines what visual details are essential and which can be compressed. So, depending on how they feel about it, they're just going to cut out quality. Whether it be in 1080 or 4K, you're still going to be losing quality. Sure, the internet's getting better every day and they may fix this issue in the future, but for now, it's still quite an issue. What's the point in watching it on a streaming service like that if you can actually get a Blu-ray copy and you've got the highest quality format there? I mean, sure, I watch movies on VHS and the quality isn't that great, but it's the whole nostalgia aspect that goes along with watching VHS tapes. It takes me back to being a kid, the 80s and 90s. So she goes on to say that if you want to watch an American Tale, tough luck. Amblin animated movies are not available on what you're paying for. So she's basically saying that, these titles are only available on certain streaming services. That's very true. If I wanted to watch Fanny and Alexander from Ingmar Bergman, I'm a big Ingmar Bergman fan, I'm going to have to be subscribed to Apple TV. Because that's the only place you can really watch Ingmar Bergman films. Luckily for me, though, I've got the whole box set here, which is all of his films, in a nice Criterion Collection Blu-ray box set here, and they're all remastered in 4K, not 4K, 1080, and they look superb. Even if you wanted to watch, you find a Bergman movie on YouTube, chances are the quality is going to be super low res, and there may not be any subtitles to it, so you're really taking a gamble. Let's say you wanted to watch Song of the South. Disney have basically removed that movie from everywhere. Luckily there is a 4K restoration on the Internet Archive, but who knows how long that will stay up for. So this is one of those things where you can't even purchase this film anymore. I don't agree with bootlegging or anything like that, but how else are you supposed to find this movie? They've taken it away because of its controversial depiction of African Americans. But, it's still a film that we watched growing up as a kid, and they do these kind of things. Star Wars, they've, edited a whole lot out of the Star Wars. It's great that I've got the original VHS tapes that I can watch Star Wars, the original version, without all the added CGI crap. If you wanted to, say, watch Rush Hour, I don't really want to watch that, but let's say you did want to watch it, you'd have to subscribe to one of these: HBO, Netflix, Amazon, Google. So you're gonna have to subscribe to one of these services now just to watch that film. I'm a big Federico Fellini fan, of course. Let's say you wanted to watch Knights of Cabiria. The only place you can watch that is on Binge. And then if I want to watch I Remember, which is another Fellini film, I'm going to have to subscribe to Apple TV again. It's like, it's so odd. And like I said, I've got the whole box set of Fellini here. This is every single film of Fellini's. And sure, you're going to pay a price for these kind of box sets, but at least you can just pull them out whenever you want, and you can watch whatever. If you're a cinephile like myself, you can just watch whatever movie you want to watch without having to sift through which streaming platform it's going to be on, or when it's going to be taken down from that platform. Especially in today's day and age with the cost of living, people can't afford to be subscribing to multiple streaming services. They've got maybe one or two, and that's about it. So if you want to watch this movie, tough luck. If you've got Netflix and that's all you've got, but you want to watch Fellini or Bergman, you're going to have to get Apple TV. You can't afford it. What do you do? So I find it's a real issue, and we've gone through it before, but the amount of times these streaming services is take these movies off of their platform. With Netflix, for instance, the best way to know if a movie is on Netflix is to ask yourself, do I want to watch this movie? If the answer is yes, then it's probably not on Netflix. Some of these comments on this article: this is a part of the enshittification of life. It's an interesting word. Shrinking of the ownership class and the corporate move to forcing us to rent everything. And it's true. They're trying to push for us to rent everything. Streaming is ultimately just another form of TV, and TV has historically been a crappy way to watch movies. Wrong aspect ratios, scenes cut out for time or content restrictions, replaced or missing music on the soundtrack due to licensing issues, commercial breaks. Yeah, it really is something. This is just a little rant I'm going on, but it just proves that more and more people are getting back into physical media collecting over streaming services. Well, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.